We're up the top of this tree because we're going to go through a couple of demos. We're going to demo, number one is just a quick ponytail redirect, which means that you leave the tail of your rope close to the trunk while you use natural redirects to get out to a certain area of the tree. And then instead of having to climb back up over those natural redirects, then you can use the tail of your rope close to the trunk to lift your system back to you. So that's number one. And number two, we're going to go through a little bit of a technical removable and retrievable redirect, which should be a bit of fun. So hope you enjoy. First things first, we're going to go over a ponytail redirect, which means that we're going to naturally redirect over the top of these branches down to there. And I have left the tail of my rope down by the trunk, because what's going to happen is I'm going to climb out onto these branches, and instead of coming back up over here to get my rope off of around these branches, I'm going to go all the way back into the trunk, lift up my rope over the top so that I can then go straight out over here. So first things first, I need to chuck some tail of my rope down this side of the tree. On my rope guide, double rope climbing system, and these are double rope climbing redirects. So as you can see, I've got my rope guide up here and I'm climbing over this side of the tree, which means I'm going over this limb, and I'm also going over this big bit of deadwood out onto this branch over here, which means that if I want to get back and climb that head over there, the problem is going to be that I'll have to climb back up over these branches to get my rope with a good line over there. But we're going to do a ponytail redirect to deal with that situation. So keep going down. Oh, and GoPro's caught up. Okay. Sweet. So as you can see, I'm over this half of the tree, which means I'm able to work on these branches around here and all of this side of the canopy. But as I mentioned, to get over to that head over there, I will want to get my climbing system out of those two limbs which are in the way. So to do that, I've climbed with a bight of rope over this half of the tree, and I've left the tail of the climbing line all the way down back at the trunk, which means I'll be able to lift this system up and over. So I'm going to do that now and give you a look at how to do that. So coming back in, try not to get everything caught up because we've got a bight of rope, which means we need to really manage our climbing system. Now this looks like a little bit of a mess in that I have got my double rope climbing system up to my rope guide up there. I've got the tail of that in a bight back up over the top of those two limbs, and I've now got the actual tail of my rope up and over here. So, oh, look at these hairy caterpillars. They look a bit gnarly. So I'm actually going to descend down a bit more so I don't lanyard around where those gnarly caterpillars are, because they don't look like they'll be fun to get on you. And importantly, when I lanyard in, I have to keep a hold of the tail of this rope. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tail and I'm going to take my lanyard and I'm going to lanyard around the trunk like so, getting into a comfortable position. And the tail of the rope is through my lanyard, which means I won't lose it out into space. And then what I'm going to do is, sorry, get comfortable. What I'm going to do is I am not going to unclip any of my climbing system from the hitch climber setup. I'm going to unclip my main connection point and I'm going to keep a hold of the bight of rope for as long as possible. Now what you need to do is you need to tie a marlin spike underneath of this so that the climbing system doesn't get trapped all the way up at your rope guide. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull down on the splice side of the rope like so, and as you watch it's going to go up past that limb, up past the other limb. Now I've still got a hold of this bight and I'm going to pull on the tail of this rope and it's going to lift all of that climbing system over onto this opposite side of the tree. And you kind of want to make sure that it's not going to get caught on anything before you let go of this bight, because this is what can take it back up to the top. And I'm going to let go at the last minute and I'm going to pull my climbing system all the way back down to me. And as you can see, it's now on the opposite side of those branches. So the good thing about that is after I unclip this marlin spike and clip the climbing system back into my main D-ring, what that means is I am now over the opposite side of the tree. Where I was over that side of the tree through those forks, I'm now this side of the tree, which means I can climb up this section with my rope guide working for me in the best way. Okay, and that is the Ponytail Redirect. So we have got our double rope climbing system set up at the top of this tree, and I'm going to give you a run through of a removable and retrievable redirect. What that means is it means that we're going to be able to redirect through a redirecting like climbing system, a set of gear, and we can climb out on that branch using the redirect to give us the best rope angle, and then we can climb straight back in and lanyard into the trunk and then pull our pull our rope up and remove the redirect from this position without removing the rope guide, and then pulling the rope all the way back down to ourselves and retrieving the redirect as well. So I'm going to run through that. Here's the redirect system. Essentially, this is all the gear you need, and this is a bit of an old school technique for double rope climbing because it's using a Wild Country Ropeman, and this clever piece of kit is a camming device which opens and closes obviously with an eccentric cam in it, and we've put a retrieval shackle on the end of it. What that means is that we can thread our dead-eye sling like so around a branch, put our climbing system through the pulley and the carabiner, and then when it comes to retrieving this system, well, we can send a retrieval ball up through the middle of this and it opens up this cam, removing the system without having to remove our rope guide, and we can retrieve this all the way back down to ourselves. So I'll show you how to set this up. So So first things first, not that we really need a redirect to get out here because we've got quite a good rope angle anyway, or we could go a bit higher up on this head anyhow, but I'm gonna show you just for demonstration purposes. So I'm gonna open this up, and first things first, I'm obviously lanyarded in. And the important part about this is the cam has to open up back towards your rope guide, so back towards the top of the tree. So when we're up the top of the tree, obviously we're lanyarded in because we're going to be slackening off our climbing system. So I'm going to pass this dead eye all the way around like so, and now our climbing system is going to go through this carabiner. And to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to put our spliced side of the rope through this pulley, and then we're going to put our prusik side of the rope through here, because we're going to pull slack into the prusik side to allow us to retrieve this. So first things first, obviously lanyarded in, keep myself safe, and I don't need to disconnect my climbing system. I can literally pull slack into it. So first things first, I've got my splice, and this is going to go through the carabiner like so. So I'm going to put the pulley on, and I'm going to install it like that. So that's the splice side done. Now for the opposite side of the line, so my prusik side of the line, and I'm going to run this straight through the carabiner, not through a pulley, and you'll see why. Now the important part of this is I'm going to install the retrieval shackle over the top of the splice side. So this will all become clear in a moment, and I can take up some tension in my climbing system now, and I can start letting out on my lanyard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually swing down over to there with this redirect in place. Just put the lanyard on for safety's sake, just because this is an awkward redirect. Excellent. So as you can see, I have redirected off of my high point back through this device, and I've got my splice side of the rope going through the pulley, and I've got my prusik side of the rope going through the carabiner and the retrieval shackle, and you'll see why in a second. So this, just for demonstration purposes, because I don't really need this redirect from that high point to get down over to here, but climb through all the internal growth, pop out your marlin spike, and now what we're going to do is start getting out onto this limb. Okay, so I can lanyard in out here, and carry out work on this kind of extended limb with a slightly better rope angle than what I would have had with the rope guide. I could just put the rope guide higher, but demonstration purposes. So now that we've carried out the work on this limb, what I'm going to do is I'm going to climb back into the trunk, and I'm going to be able to remove that redirect and go back to just my rope guide. So I'll show you how that's done. Okay. Past all this foliage. Okay. And you see I'm kind of pulling back against my redirect now, so it's in a less than ideal position. Because we're going to be pulling slack into this climbing system, what I'll do is I'll lanyard in, because our weight is not going to be fully supported by this. And just as good habit, I'll capture the tail just in case. Okay, so my weight is now in my lanyard, and pull out all the excess slack. And if you remember, we put the retrieval shackle above the prusik, which means that we're going to put the retrieval ball above the prusik. So wherever our trusty retrieval ball is, so trusty retrieval ball, what I'm going to do is try and prusik it. Oh, I think I might just actually have to do a literal prusik. Okay, so what's going to happen is this retrieval ball is going to go up the tree. With this retrieval ball above the prusik, I'm going to pull on the splice, and we're going to get this retrieval ball to go through that carabiner. So it pops through the carabiner, grabs onto the retrieval shackle. There we go. So now that whole system has popped out, and what I can do is I can start pulling the slack out of above my prusik, and as you'll see in a minute, the redirect will come all the way down here. So I'll just whip this retrieval ball off. Awesome. And just girth hitch it out of the way for a second. Keep pulling this lot down, and there's that redirect system that I had, and it's going to come sliding all the way back down to us. So there we go. We have removed the redirect system. We've used the redirect system and then removed the redirect system remotely without having to go back up to our rope guide and without having to remove the rope guide. So that's a cool, nifty little trick. I'm just going to tidy up this climbing system, get back onto this fully weighted, and head back and show you some other bits and bobs. Heading back up double rope is not my favorite, to be honest. So to give you a look at that redirect that we just used, it's this. So in the grand scheme of things, this is actually quite a compact redirect for the amount of functionality it gives you for double roping. So that was one of my favorite double rope redirects back in the day. So hopefully you found that useful, and drop a like and a subscribe and a comment if you want to know more and want to see more of these sorts of videos. Climb safe. Cheers.